get to know get to know him a little bit as well. Deryk, for the Golden Knights, coming off a couple of losses, and most recently against the Vancouver Canucks. And we heard Bruce Cassidy after the game speak a little bit about for the Golden Knights, certainly a challenge of the schedule a little bit, the 5 games in a span of 8 days, if I'm not mistaken, after the Vancouver loss. But overall, I think for the Golden Knights, there's an understanding that what goes up must come down a little bit to a degree. And for the Golden Knights, still points in 6 of their last 10. The Pacific Division maybe feeling a little bit tighter because the Seattle Kraken are on a bit of a heater right now. But overarchingly, you got to watch a good portion of the Vancouver game where the Golden Knights stand right now.
Yeah, I think they had such a good start, and you're expecting another 13-2 run like they did in the first 15 games, but I don't think it's possible, to keep that momentum up. Everyone's trying to beat you. You're established as a top team in the division, and you're gonna get the best from everyone. But I agree with Bruce, saying they need some practice time to fine tune some things. And if Bruce was here for 3 years, it might not be as much of a big thing, but he's still early on, and the first few games, first 15 games, they had the practice time. They were practicing how they wanted to play, and maybe they've got away from that a little bit without the practice time, and it's not getting drilled into your head every single practice, and they're not going out and just playing the way they're supposed to play this year. And I thought against Vancouver, it kind of crept. Maybe you've seen a little bit of a little more perimeter than you were the beginning 15 games, where everything was at the net, everyone was going there, and you just didn't see that killer instinct. And it's an easy thing to say, the practice, but it's still early with a new coach and the systems. Maybe they slip a little bit, and that practice time gives you the time to fine tune them and get that back in your head. And okay, this is the way we need to play to win.
I know that after the Vancouver loss, a lot of the questions that Bruce Cassidy fielded regarded or revolved around the penalty kill. And okay, the Vancouver Canucks scored 3 power play goals and pretty much right off the hop, and fair enough, you don't want that, obviously, but I look at those goals, sometimes pucks go in, and there's never a game where a team gives up 3 power play goals and we'll just dismiss it in that fashion. But the Besser deflection in front, that's a shot from the perimeter by Ekman Larsson. The JT Miller goal is a shot from the perimeter. For me, the problem with those penalty kills, it wasn't anything structurally based. It was more a matter of they lost a face-off, and Vancouver turned it around quickly.
Yeah, that's a huge thing when you can start with the puck, ice it down, and make them come 200 feet and then get set up. It's a lot easier than losing a clean. And it wasn't just losing a draw; it was losing a clean draw.
Yeah.
You weren't tied up, giving your other guys time to get into places. It was just a clean draw. They're set up immediately, and they got the pucks to the net. They had guys right in front of LT, and that's not always a great recipe. Deflection in, shot with traffic right in front of them. The third goal, the one-timer, that's a great shot. Definitely needs to be better, and it starts, like you said, with the face-off and trying to start with possession and get it 200 feet down the ice.
Well, we have a little bit of Bruce Cassidy audio rather than us break it down. Let's respond to what the coach has to say. Let's hear where Bruce Cassidy feels the VGK is right now.
We gotta get ourselves righted here. Not our best the last 2 home games, even the Ottawa game. We gave up some stuff that Logan made a lot of good saves. So we got to tighten up away from the puck. That usually allows us to be good with the puck when we do that. So that was the message this morning. We revisited some of our structure and our end, how we can be better, get out of our end quicker. Hopefully with puck possession, if not with some level of pace where we're stressing the other team with a good chip out. So that's what's been lacking, our first touch or first pass execution, and then being stronger on the puck if we do complete that pass. So that was the biggest message. Back on the road, it's been good to us. So sometimes it's easier to play. We're just rolling lines, and off you go.
And that's Bruce Cassidy. And what I think is interesting, he harkens back to the need to tighten things up, but he even references the Ottawa victory as well, which the win over Ottawa, that was a 4-1 final. But if you look at the last, what I want to say is 7 games, 5 of the last 7 games, the Golden Knights have given up 4 goals or more. So despite the fact still winning, still putting points on the board, but they are giving up a little bit more than what we saw early on. And in the Vancouver game, the the Kuzmenko goal, even the Bo Horvat goal late in the second period. There was definitely missed assignments in front, and maybe that's something that as you referenced, practice time is valuable when things get a little bit scrambly in your own end.
Yeah, for sure. Like the practice time, it's like I said, it's still early in Bruce's coaching career here in Vegas, and the more you can do his systems, the more it's going to just come second nature, and it's probably there for the most part, but if you're not still running through it in practice and stuff, it can slip out a little bit, and maybe you're not instead of being right there, you're a foot away, and that's just not enough. So some practice time. I know they play tonight, and then they have 2 days off, so I'm sure they're going to have some practice time where they can tune some things, work on some things, the PK, special team, stuff like that, and just defensive zone coverage.
I think another thing that becomes a theme for the Golden Knights, again, still first in the Pacific, it's the fact that this is the biggest bump in the road they've had so far. It's a pretty good road, I think most teams would say, but the Pacific Division gets a little bit tighter. The Kraken have won 5 straight. They're playing very well. The Golden Knights just caught Vancouver when they're on the upswing. If you look at the Canucks on paper, you knew eventually they were going to play a little bit better than what their record was showing. But there's a little bit of an element of what goes up must come down. You're not going to win 11 of 13 throughout the season, or if you are, you're going to be a team remembered forever.
Yeah.
So right now, this is a little bit of a regression back to the mean to some extent. Points in 6 of the last 10, nonetheless. But you hear Bruce Cassidy still challenging his team to respond. And it's good to challenge your team to respond when things are going either well or there's signs of, okay, here's something we can correct. And one of the things he brought up was this is a very young goaltending tandem in Aiden Hill and Logan Thompson that have played very, very well so far this season. But he said, okay, we've been getting up some goals lately. These are 2 young guys. We knew that they probably weren't going to play to the astronomical numbers that we saw to start the season. There was eventually going to be a little bit of a market correction.
Yeah.
How do they respond to that? And I thought that was interesting. Not calling anyone to attention, but just saying, okay, hey, we're giving up more goals. We've got 2 young goaltenders. This is their first challenge. How do you guys respond to that challenge? I thought that was interesting that he, in a calm manner, put that forth. Okay, young guys, let's see what you have.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's the second challenge because the first challenge was coming to camp and,
Sure.
Making the team. And, until just recently, there was no starter. They're both, Logan played a little bit more, but, Bruce came out and said he's the number 1 right now. And, they have been playing phenomenally well. And, I think a lot is nothing against the goalies or anything, but the system Bruce plays and how they played the first 15 games. They were playing very, very, very structurally, defensively, collapsing in front of the net, taking care of the pucks and stuff, and maybe they just got away from that a little bit. And, like you said, everything that goes up comes down, but you look at Vancouver, they started 0-5-2 or whatever it was, and I didn't picture them down there. They got some high-end talent up front, and Demko's a great goalie. He's been struggling a little bit this year. Martin's come, I think Martin, right?
Spencer Martin, yeah.
Came up, played really well, and I think the Pacific Division, you throw away the start of it, is a lot tighter than a lot think. San Jose, LA's good. Edmonton, Calgary, they've up, down, who knows what you're gonna get out of them. But
it was never meant to be wide open, right?
No, it's a tight division. So I think you're seeing a lot more what everyone expected.
Well, as we turn the page and the hockey to come again, the Golden Knights will take on the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight at Nationwide Arena. You look at the great start that the Golden Knights have had to the season. A lot of it is built on what they did. They went out east, out to Ontario, Western New York, and Buffalo, and they had a perfect road trip, and that included a stop in Washington as well. So not to say that you go on the road to get your mojo back, because the mojo's not gone, but having said that, this is a Golden Knights team that's played exceptionally well on the road, and this might be an opportunity for them. Again, the Blue Jackets struggling a bit through the first month and a half of the season, but the rest of the trip, stops in Pittsburgh is going to be tough. Detroit is going to be tough. This could be a very useful road trip to test their mettle and get back to that kind of structure that Bruce Cassidy wants to see.
Yeah, the road has been great for him. That last road trip was unbelievable. And I look at this, there's some good, tough games. Columbus obviously struggling, but you go into Pittsburgh, Detroit's playing really well, and then you got the best team in the league. So there's no better way to finish out a road trip than playing against one of the best in the league. And It has been good to them, and like Bruce said, sometimes it's easier. You don't have to think as much. There's no distractions outside. You're in the hotel room with the guys. You're having dinner. You're getting closer as a team, and sometimes you need that.
And you say the best team in the league, of course, that's the Boston Bruins, and that's the return to Boston for Bruce Cassidy. That'll be storylines galore for that one as well.
For sure.
Well, tonight a storyline is going to be 600 career games for Braden McNabb on the back end. I believe we have audio from Braden McNabb as well. Let's hear what he thinks on the contest to come.
Did you know that it's game 600 for you tonight?
Oh, I knew it was coming up. I didn't know it was tonight. I have to keep that down. Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I knew it was coming up, but yeah, glad it's tonight, I guess.
The majority of that has come as a Vegas Golden Knight. How do you think you've grown the most since being with this team?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, it's thinking about the journey. It's been kind of a wild ride, a fun ride. Very, fortunate that it's worked out this way, and to be in the city, my family loves, and could be home for a long time, we hope. So, it's been an awesome journey, and just super happy that I was able to be here.
Deryk, for the fans who may not know, a little bit of context, Ashley Weiss there telling Braden McNabb it's his 600th game. First of all, funny, last night on the HSK side, Jake Bischoff had his 200th AHL game. We asked him on the air how excited he was. It was the first he'd heard of it too. So while we all watch these milestones, players aren't maybe always aware. I'm sure Phil Kessel knew 1,000 was coming, but
yeah, that's a little different. It's it's coming. You're not following your stats, or not everyone does, anyways. But it's coming, and sometimes you try to squeak it under because it's money on the board.
That's what I was going to say. The context of why Ashley Weiss has to whisper about it.
Yeah, so
it's expensive to accomplish things.
Yeah, usually you put $1 up for every game, or if you want to go over that. But that's kind of like the minimum. You put it up, and it goes to team parties and dinners and stuff like that. So it goes back to you're going to use it anyways. So it's not a big deal, but it's you get called out, and hopefully. Usually I'd get there really early and just put the money up on the board right away, so no one makes you feel guilty and put more up. So, you just try to fly under the radar for that.
It was funny with the Silver Knights a couple of years ago. Patrick Brown had his 400th professional game, so I walked by and I said, "Hey, Patrick, congratulations on number 400." And I'm telling you, every head in that locker room turned like I just threw a stake in the middle of a lion pit. They were like, "We got him."
Yeah.
So you got to be subtle about those things.
Yeah.
But for Braden McNabb, it'll be 600 career games tonight against the Blue Jackets. Overarchingly for the for the Golden Knights, the way they've played, we're talking a lot about the defensive structure right now, but offensively, they had opportunities early in that Vancouver game that they couldn't finish on. They had opportunities early against Seattle, but they couldn't sustain it. The chances are still there. We talked last time we sat here just a couple of weeks ago how well spread this offense was. In terms of multiple players contributing consistently. But right now for the Golden Knights heading into this road trip, they still have to feel pretty good about the chances that they're generating.
Yeah, for sure. Stoney, Steve-O. Stoney had 2 actually last game.
Yeah.
Partial breakaway. Obviously, you'd like a little bit more time, but the 2 point-blank chances from, I think Eichel passed both of them to Steve-O and Stone. They're getting the chances. Not in. You're going to run into a goalie that's playing well, or a game that the pucks aren't going in, and you just got to keep battling through that. And Vancouver played well. They played really well offensively. They didn't give them a whole lot in their zone after that first 7 minutes. A little bit in the Vancouver had 2 shots and 2 goals in the second period at the beginning of it. So I think they're both power play goals too, right? So they were not giving them much except for the power play, and they were right off the draw. So, it's you're not gonna win them all.
Right?
You can't. You're 13-2 to start, and going. You can't win them all. It's impossible now. So, you're gonna lose some. You're gonna run into different obstacles, and you just gotta get through it as quick as possible and not let it snowball too much.
Jack Eichel's over a point per game. Alex Pietrangelo, Chandler Stevenson, Mark Stone, they're in that area too. So. Certainly plenty of production and an opportunity to open the floodgates a little bit against the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight. Well, Golden Knights fans, one of the best rivalries in all of sports is coming to the Dollar Loan Center in Henderson on Thursday, December 15th. The U.S. and Canadian national women's hockey teams have battled on Olympic and World Championship stages for decades, and now they're coming to the Las Vegas Valley. Visit thedollarloancenter.com, thedollarloancenter.com, and get your tickets to see the best in the world battle on December 15th at the DLC. We will step aside. When we come back, we'll be joined by a new member of the VGK broadcasting family, graduate assistant Justin Russo. We'll get to know him a little bit better. You're going to be hearing his voice throughout the winter, so best you hear it from him directly. That's straight ahead on Nighttime at Noon. Brian McCormack, Deryk Engelland here with you on Fox Sports Las Vegas. Golden Knight fans, the Foley Food and Wine Society was created to celebrate three of Bill and Carol Foley's greatest passions: world-class wines, exceptional cuisine, and magnificent travel destinations. Members of the society will have access to an entire portfolio of properties around the world and have exclusive opportunities to join like-minded individuals who seek to experience the finer things in life. Join for free today. Visit FoleyFoodAndWineSociety.com, FoleyFoodAndWineSociety.com. Back inside Studio 31 at City National Arena, I am Brian McCormack. He is Deryk Engelland, and joining us now in studio is Justin Russo, the new broadcast grad assistant for the Vegas Golden Knights, which is going to include a pretty significant on-air presence as well. If you follow the Silver Knights, you'll hear him throughout the season as our studio host, doing pre-intermission and post. Justin, welcome to the studio, and welcome to the VGK.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here on both ends of things with Henderson and with Vegas, and it's been fun getting integrated and kind of hopping on a couple of moving trains here as I started just about a week or two after the season started, but it's been so fun so far, and I'm happy to be here.
And a busy stretch, too. So I already said one of the hats that you're going to wear. The on-air presence with the Silver Knights is the studio host, but that's not the only hat you're wearing. So give the fans a total sense of what you're going to be doing. That way they can track your every move.
Yeah, so as Brian mentioned, I'll maybe not that closely, but I'll be on the air for Henderson on 12:30 The Game. You've probably already heard my voice if you tuned into a couple of the games already. I'm on the pregame show, intermission reports, and the postgame, so it's been fun getting to know some of the people on that side and going through some of the stuff in Henderson. And as well on the Vegas side, I'm helping out Dan Duva and Gary Lawless on the broadcast there and cutting up some of their audio highlights from the broadcast and putting them on SoundCloud. So check out the VGK SoundCloud for audio highlights from Dan and Gary. We're putting them up every night. They'll be up tonight after the Columbus game as well. So some exclusive content there, maybe interviews, pre-game, intermission that you might have missed during the game or if you couldn't listen live. And we're putting them all up for the fans there.
So give us a sense also of what led you to this moment, your broadcasting background. Anyone listening to the show right now can tell this is not the first couple of months you've worn a headset before. So how did the broadcaster, Justin Russo, grow into this role?
Well, it all started right down the road at UNLV. Started as a student radio broadcaster at UNLV doing UNLV's football games, women's basketball games, baseball games, all the above. So really all started there. KUNV Radio, I got to have a huge shout out to them. They had a great portion in my success there in terms of the broadcaster that I've become. So yeah, that's where I started and just kind of worked off from there. Done basically everything I can in terms of writing, broadcasting, and anything sports-wise that I've been able to get my hands on, and that's kind of led to this moment.
So you're born here, we were talking
Yep.
earlier. What started with UNLV and now get to be up here working for the Knights. And what does that mean to you? You're born and raised here. Vegas, the Knights are born in Vegas. It's the team here. And what does that mean to you?
It's so special. And we had talked briefly, before we came on here that, this town really, there was nothing pro sports-wise for the longest time. And when Vegas was able to get the hockey team, get the Golden Knights here, you weren't sure because hockey, this isn't a traditional hockey market, right? We're in the desert. There's not a lot of ice around here. So when you looked at the market, you thought, how's the city going to take to the team? And it's just been so cool watching how the city has just grown and kind of made the team its own. And it's so awesome to, from being from Vegas and watching the town grow, not only as a hockey town, but as a professional sports town, to now be a part of that and be a broadcaster with VGK.
We're with Justin Russo, new broadcast grad assistant for the Vegas Golden Knights. I wonder what your growth as a hockey fan is, because like you said, you grew up here, not traditional market, but anyone who's listened to you knows you're not learning on the fly. You know the game, so you introduced yourself to hockey prior to the VGK coming to town.
Yeah, I've been watching hockey my whole life, basically. As I was mentioning to Deryk, before we had a team, both my parents are from Pittsburgh, so I was a big Pittsburgh Penguins fan, and I was able to watch Deryk and all those guys over there. Of course, now on the VGK side of things, but I've been watching my whole life, and I just love the sport. I love the fast-paced intensity of it. And it just feels like there's action all the time, and that's kind of what drew me to it. And it's so fun to watch. It's so fun to be at the games now, having a chance, even back in the day, going to the Wranglers games. Those games are so fun to go to. And now, of course, with VGK and HSK both in town, it's so fun. I really encourage you, if you haven't already been, I'm sure you have if you're listening to this show, but if you haven't, really go out to one of the games. They're really fun to watch. And, it's just such a great experience live.
I know firsthand how you came to be a member of the VGK broadcast family because I helped get you on board. But I think your story is a great one for any aspiring young broadcaster who's just looking for a chance, looking for an opportunity to put yourself out there. Because one of the reasons you're here is because you went to a job fair and asserted yourself and put yourself in the mix.
Yeah, exactly. Right across the street at the Las Vegas ballpark about 6 months ago, I went to a job fair. A bunch of the local pro sports teams were hosting and just handed out the resume. You never know who's going to get it in their hands. And, of course, it ended up being Brian right here. And, he was able to hook me up here with a role at HSK and VGK. So, yeah, just put yourself out there. Get yourself in the eyes of everyone that you might need. And good things will happen, and it did for me.
You're going to make me look like a genius in the long run. We're with Justin Russo, broadcast grad assistant for the VGK. I think is really fun about the position that you have, and all of our grad assistants, but you get to be in the booth with Dan Duva, with Gary Lawless, and Deryk and Darren. I mean, there's such a wealth of broadcasters here to learn from, but because of the work that you're doing, both in the editing sphere, but also on the HSK side as a studio host, I mean, you really get to immerse yourself in these teams. So just about going about your business, you're going to be probably the most one of the most educated VGK, HSK personalities in town because of how much hands-on experience you're going to have both with the broadcasters but also with the the information that goes into these games.
And that's one of the things that attracted me so well to this position is because I get to be so closely with both teams. You know, obviously on a nightly basis, I'm on the radio with Henderson, so I'm always watching those games, studying those games, and learning about those players and kind of the way they do things. But of course, like you mentioned, I'm sitting right behind Dan Duva and Gary Lawless every game, so I get to hear them talk. I get to talk with them and kind of learn the trade, learn how they see things hockey-wise, and pick up on things that they look at and they look for. And so, yeah, it's been really fun. Even as quickly as I've been here, like you said, I feel really integrated with both of the teams, and I feel like I'm right in there.
Do you like the studio stuff? I'm sure you don't dislike it, but you've got play-by-play background too, some reporting background. You've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's all fun to me, but I think my natural habitat's probably that play-by-play role. I love being live in the moment, being at the games, just feeling the intensity of not only the players on the field and what's going on, but the crowd and just the whole live aspect of that really attracts me.
As we all casually look over our shoulders in fear. We're at Justin Russo, the broadcast grad assistant of the VGK. And, Deryk, Justin said he's done a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of everything. I mean, that goes beyond football, basketball, hockey. You have an F1 podcast? Do I have that right, too?
That is correct. I do have an F1 podcast. I think we all had our quarantine pick, our quarantine hobby, and mine was watching F1 Drive to Survive, the show on Netflix. So I started watching that, picked up F1. It's been a fun hobby for me to watch, and I'm the crazy guy that gets up at 6 a.m. on Sundays when there's a race over in Europe and watches it, and it's just been real fun for me. I have loved motorsports as well my whole life. Grew up watching NASCAR here and all that, so that's been another sport to add onto the list in terms of what I watch.
Hey, Darren Millard's ears just perked up a little bit, right? Yeah.
It's great. I can't wait for the race next year. It's going to be. Might be you want to get there, but it might be one of those things want to watch on TV too, because it's going to be insane.
Buy your binoculars now, yeah. But it's going to be a great, just like everything else, all the great events that are coming to Vegas, and that includes the U.S. and Canadian women's national teams in Henderson in a couple of weeks. A really fun time to be a sports fan in Vegas. Before we let you go, Justin, again, you've been immersed now in VGK hockey for a couple of weeks. Let's throw you on the spot and just get a sense of this upcoming road trip. The Golden Knights in Columbus tonight. What's important against the Blue Jackets?
Well, as you were mentioning, it's really nice to have a road trip where you get to play some good teams. Obviously, Columbus down there near the bottom of the standings, but could be a good reset game for them after that Vancouver game last weekend. And I think you brought up a great point, and I've heard, of course, Dan and Gary talk about this a lot too, is that they really paid a lot of attention to that defensive system that Bruce Cassidy brought in, and that was really all they focused on in training camp because they just wanted to get it down so badly. And things have started to kind of, that hasn't really been the attention to detail that they've wanted lately. So I think getting back to that, just playing the defensive system. We've seen it down in Henderson too. If you just play a defensive system, you do what you're supposed to do. Nothing has to be pretty. You just get pucks on net, and good things are going to happen. So I think that's a key for them. Just maybe simplify things. You have your Jack Eichels and Mark Stones that, of course, you're going to want to do flashy things and score a lot of goals. But at the end of the day, if you just play the right way, good things are going to happen.
Well, Justin Russo, the newest member of our VGK broadcast and HSK broadcast team, knows what he's talking about, and you're going to hear his voice a lot this season. Justin, welcome aboard. It's great to have you.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thanks for coming.
That is Justin Russo, HSK studio host and VGK broadcast grad assistant. We're going to hop out. When we come back, we're going to throw it over to some NHL news and storylines. Brian McCormack, Deryk Engelland here with you. This is Nighttime at Noon on Fox Sports Las Vegas. Hey, Golden Knights fans, ever wonder where you can get game-used Vegas Golden Knights merchandise? Well, look no further. VGK Authentics has got you covered. From game-used pucks to game-worn jerseys, owning something from your favorite Golden Knights player has never been so simple. Check out what VGK Authentics has to offer by visiting VegasTeamStore.com, VegasTeamStore.com. And is it Cyber Monday? Deryk, it is
yes.
Cyber, and we're sitting here. Oh my goodness!
I gotta go order some Christmas presents.
Vegas Team Store.
After
I'm gonna see. Everyone thinks the laptop I have open in front of me. Those of you who are watching our stream, this is for research. No, this is for shopping. I'm way behind.
At least you turned the mute on at this time.
See, that was like 3 weeks ago. I
Hey,
bet everyone
it's
had
like the
forgotten.
last time I was here.
Called out. All right.
Phone, man. Yeah.
Get right, Deryk. I'm about to riddle you with
Saturday,
NHL news and
Saturday
notes
you can get me.
coming at you. He's Deryk Engelland. You probably know that. I'm Brian McCormack. This is Nighttime at Noon. Great having Justin Russo on in our last segment, the new VGK broadcast assistant. I'm looking off screen. Songy, Ryan. I mean, we gotta get all the grad assistants in here at some point. It's all right. We'll get to grill one at a time, I suppose. Let's take a look at some NHL news and notes. As mentioned, the VGK start their road trip tonight in Columbus against the Blue Jackets. Elsewhere around the NHL and also Pacific, focus on the Western Conference as well. San Jose Sharks, bit of a bump and go start to the season for them, of course, but now they have a little bit more complication in net as it looks like James Reimer, goaltender, is going to go to injured reserve. Aaron Dell was brought back up from the San Jose Barracuda, but that's certainly a challenging stumbling block for the San Jose Sharks, who again are trying to pick themselves up after a rough start. This isn't going to make it any easier.
No, he's been playing great there the last couple of years. Reimer, really holding them in games, and I don't want to say they were rebuilding, but they were retooling, I guess you could say. And last year, he was standing on his head a lot of the games that we watched here, and at least giving them a chance to win. So that's a big loss for that team.
A .903 save percentage for Reimer thus far this season, but again, that's been under heavy duress, so that's going to be a challenge for the Sharks. And again, they brought Aaron Dell up from the Barracuda to fill that spot. Moving along, Evan Rodriguez is out with a lower body injury. It's going to be about a 2-week absence for Evan Rodriguez, and that's going to be tough for Colorado.
Yeah, he fills in for Kadri. They brought him in for that. It's tough to fill Kadri's shoes, but he's a player that plays kind of like similar, but it's another big loss. They are a pretty deep team. I'm sure they'll find a way to fill in for him for the 2 weeks, but he'll be missed too.
And we say out for 2 weeks. That's perhaps a little bit more on the optimistic side. It could be as many as long as 4 weeks before the Avalanche have Evan Rodriguez at their disposal. Again, Evan Rodriguez, 9 points in 18 games with the Avalanche so far this season. Moving on down the list, the Lamoureux twins, the Lamoureux sisters, and Ryan Miller will be inducted into the 2022 USA Hockey Hall of Fame class. And I think for the maybe the most recent generation of youngsters, some of their favorite U.S. Olympic memories probably come on the backs of those players. Ryan Miller, especially in 2010. Really, the entire 2009-2010 season for Ryan Miller, NHL and international, was outstanding. But that was one of the best goaltending seasons we've seen, including his performance in Vancouver.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He's been, right up there with the best for a lot of years. And he didn't always have the best team in front of him. So they've struggled a lot, but he would give him a chance to win, and definitely deserving of him. Playing him, great guy off the ice, and deserves that introduction into the USA Hockey Hall of Fame. Same with the Twins. They've been, a staple for the Team USA for a long time. So congratulations to them.
That's Jocelyn and Monique. And it's, again, some of their Olympic performances. And there have been so many great prominent names for the U.S. women's team. And, again, we're talking a lot about U.S. women's hockey and Canadian women's hockey for that matter as well, because they're going to face off in the rivalry series at the Dial Alone Center on December 15th. So there's been a lot to talk about. But the Lamoureux sisters, again, they're right up there with Amanda Kessel, Hillary Knight, the iconic names of U.S. women's hockey of the last decade. Yeah,
they've been, like I said, they're staple in for women's USA hockey, women's hockey everywhere. And I won't even say just the U.S. They're well known across the world. Wherever they're playing internationally, at the Olympics, all that stuff. So they're a big part of the Canada-U.S. rival for many, many years. So, like I said, it's a great induction into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame for them.
Moving on to the Central Division, and I think another team that is maybe not right to say a surprise this year, but has gotten off to a really, really good start and caught lightning at the start of the season. The Dallas Stars have had a terrific start to the year. Part of that is, Jamie Benn has had a bit of a revitalization this season. But of course, if you're talking Dallas Stars, the conversation begins with Jason Robertson, and for good reason. He has just been explosive to start the year. 35 points in 22 games. He leads the league in goals. He's second in points. Just a explosive start to the year for Jason Robertson.
Yeah, he started off extremely strong, and he's only gotten better as the season's rolled on. He wasn't. I want to say 2 weeks ago he wasn't in the top of the league in points or goals, and he's right up there, right behind McDavid in points, and that's tough to do. And everyone, he held out a little bit at the beginning of the year, and it's paid off for both of them. He gets a long-term deal, and they get the second leading scorer in the league right now, right behind McDavid, so not a bad trade-off there.
It's way too early to be having the MVP conversation, way too early, but that's why we have it now. I wonder to poke and prod, we get so trained on thinking of the same names every year for that race, and for good reason.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a McDavid conversation, you're going to have an Austin Matthews conversation, you might throw in if a goaltender has a year like Shesterkin had last year, although a goaltender winning is going to be very rare.
Yeah.
Regardless, we know who we expect to be talking about at the end. Right now, Jason Robertson, at this pace, if he stays it, he'll be in that conversation too. But has he kind of thrust himself into that conversation of, your elite playmakers?
Oh, 100%. A goal scorer too. He had 40.
Well, he's got 18 goals in 22 games this year. He had 41 and 74 last year.
I was going to say 42, but I couldn't quite remember. But 42, a young kid, not even in his prime yet.
Right.
So. It's fun to see. I like when someone comes out and not out of nowhere, but challenges those guys. Over the years, Ovechkin's, Crosby's, McDavid, McKinnon, Matthews, all those guys, and then you have not kind of your dark horse, but he's making a name for himself, and he's going to be right up there with those guys for years to come.
I think it kind of makes the Stars interesting as well. I don't know if you kind of move on to the flashy new toy when you're looking at teams that are favorites to win. And, after last spring, everyone thought, okay, well, are the Rangers ready to make the next step in the East? And you realize it's not that easy. But yeah. I wonder if the last couple of years, if everyone thought, okay, the Oilers are on the rise, the VGK are always there, the Kings are through their youth movement, they're on the rise. Did you kind of feel like the Dallas Stars, Jamie Benn's on the older end of things, Tyler Seguin's not all that young anymore, were they, Joe Pavelski, still productive, but not a young team?
Yeah.
You almost forget the fact that Heiskanen is young, Ottinger is young, and now you've got Jason Robertson, who is among the best players in the league, and he is young. Does it kind of change the perception of where the now first-place Dallas Stars are in the pecking order and what they're prepared to do this year, and what their list of priorities might be in the spring when they're looking to add rather than subtract?
Yeah, I think they have the talent there. Their older guys have had some down years. They've got Jamie Benn and Sagan that you'd like more production from, but so far, like you said, Jamie Benn's having a more productive season this year, and sometimes it's change of coach or whatever it is, change something in the summer to just get you back to that. William Karlsson's a great example of that too. Just got back to what was working the first year, and sometimes it's not even things on the ice. It's just, cutting your hair, something like that, just to get you back. Give you just a little change, and like you said, they got Ottinger, who's already establishing himself as one of the best in the league. Robertson, Heiskanen's fun to watch. He's just effortless out there, and he's a guy I think gets passed over as one of the top Ds in the league, and because of maybe doesn't get as much recognition because he's in Dallas and not in a Toronto or Montreal or something like that. So. They're going to be a tough team to play against. They got some great young guys, some great older guys. Pavelski still plays he's a guy that you'd want on your team no matter who's he's playing for. So
Got a lot of subtle jabs from Deryk today. I'm going to get a haircut before we're on TV together next weekend.
I need one too.
All right, fine.
This weekend. It's this weekend.
This weekend, right? We'll keep an eye on each other.
It's Monday already.
It's Monday. Fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye on each other. But to the point that we're making for the Stars, again, Jamie Benn had 18 goals last year, 11 goals the year before. He's got 10 goals and 24 points in 22 games. Big resurgence for the Dallas Stars captain. Moving forward, it was surreal, really, to see Borje Salming, who, of course, was suffering with ALS, died last week at 71. But he was finally cleared to travel back to Toronto and to help celebrate the new Hockey Hall of Fame class, and got just such a really a heart-wrenching welcome from the Maple Leafs fans. You see how much it meant to Borje Salming. We lost him shortly after, but what a surreal week. But also as sad and as sad as that Borje Salming passed away, you can't help but just feel happy that he had that moment in Toronto to be appreciated like that. Before the timing almost seemed like there was a hand from heaven that was kind of guiding the course of events.
Yeah, almost keep him there so he can experience that, and like you said, it's so special. And you hear those interviews when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame and then passing. He touched a lot of people. Nylander spoke highly of him, and everyone in Toronto seemed to too. So for him to get the opportunity to travel there and be part of that, and you don't want to say it just made his year, and it was great to see.
It's something he really deserved, and I think sometimes in an instance like that, the reaction of the person being honored tells you a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes the reaction of the people standing around that person tells you a lot too. And just the Daryl Sittler helping Borje Salming raise his own arm so that he could salute the fans like that, and just that you could tell Daryl Sittler knew too that this was a moment to be cherished, and that there may not be many more of them, and that's the way it turned out. But a salute to Borje Salming for a Hall of Fame career and a Hall of Fame life, and glad that he got the farewell that he deserved. Yeah. Final note before we send it to break, a little less impactful, but Nashville's arena has been flooding. They are postponed for 2 games at Bridgestone Arena. Do you have the technical wherewithal and skill to throw on some overalls, go down there and fix the problem?
Probably not. But
Can you expedite the flooding?
I could help. Sure, I couldn't speed it up or anything like that, but I like to hands-on work. It's good, but that would be out of my. I could cut the pipe and stuff like that, no big deal. But the welding, I'm not quite a good welder or anything like that. So,
fair enough. You fix the pipe, I'll get lunch, and we'll call it a day.
Perfect.
All right, let's throw it to break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the VGK Reverse Retros, which we saw for the first time this past weekend. They glowed in the dark, and they glowed in our hearts. We'll talk about that. And the Henderson Silver Knights with a win last night against the San Diego Gulls. Perhaps the right momentum to spur them into lucky launch next weekend. We will discuss that straight ahead, along with Deryk Engelland. I'm Brian McCormack, and this is Nighttime at Noon on Fox Sports Las Vegas. Final segment, nighttime at noon, wrapping things up. Brian McCormack, Deryk Engelland here with you. Golden Knights fans, can't get enough of hockey? Well, come check out the Henderson Silver Knights of the American Hockey League playing at the Dollar Loan Center in Henderson. Single game, group, and mini suite tickets for home games during the 2022-23 season are on sale now. Contact the Henderson Silver Knights ticketing team at 702-645-4259. That's 702-645-4259. Or visit hendersonsilverknights.com for more information today. And if you don't want to come down to the arena, we'll understand. You might want to just sit home on your couch and listen to Justin Russo, who we got you all acquainted with earlier this afternoon. And apparently, according to our other grad assistant team, Ryan and Songi, he's blowing up the internet. Is that true? They're nodding yes. So thank you, Justin, for destroying the internet with your just warm and inviting presence. Along with Deryk Engelland, Brian McCormack here with you, wrapping things up on nighttime at noon. You know, we haven't talked about yet, Deryk, the fashion statement that blew up the internet last week. The internet's in shambles.
It is.
The reverse retros for the VGK, the glow-in-the-darks, the first time they were worn, they looked good on screen, they looked good in arena, and they got pretty good reviews around the hockey fashion world.
Yeah, I think they're great. You know, Vegas has done everything differently, and it's no different with the jerseys. Them glowing, it's, you know, throwback to Vegas and, you know, the Neon Museum and all the lights and everything. So I thought it's great. It turned out great. Could be my favorite jersey, actually.
Now, the thing we need to now work on and try to get the league to play along with is, will they let us play a game in the dark? Find another team to get glow-in-the-dark jerseys too. We'll make the puck glow in the dark. The post can glow in the dark, and we'll just play in the dark. That's what this jersey. This is the first blow struck for nighttime hockey.
Yeah, that might be a little bit difficult.
You don't want to hitch yourself to this wagon, do you?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to. Maybe a shinny hockey game, but yeah, no, that could be dangerous.
Be the next challenge.
Some
for
liberties would be taken out there for sure.
The next challenge for Eric Tosi's crew: glow-in-the-dark night. But the jerseys look terrific. I'll tell you what other team could pull off the glow-in-the-dark as well as the VGK? It's a copycat league, and the VGK have started a lot of trends that other teams have adopted. Who should be the next one to take that plunge?
Well, it'd be easy to say Seattle just because they're kind of following in our
Fair
type. But I do remember, I don't know if it was Bishop or who in Tampa Bay had a glowing helmet, though. At the end of my career, one of them did. Bishop or who's there right now? I'm coming up blank.
Vasilevsky's there right now, yeah.
One of them had a glowing helmet, and it glowed when they came out. And
that's a good choice. That's a good choice, especially because everything
Tampa,
is so electrical. That would work.
It's a good fan base there too, and that enormous screen and stuff like that. I think I'd go with Tampa, and they did have a glowing goaltender's helmet. That's
a good choice. That's probably a better recommendation than mine. I was thinking if Calgary were to bring back what they name Blasty the horse, the horse head with the horse head that had the flames that come out of the nose. That third jersey that they had back in the Iginla era. I think Blasty is what they call him. But I don't know. Bring him back and have the orange glow in the dark. That would be my recommendation. But
could be.
Again, we'll leave those to the marketing people above our heads.
That's above my pay grade.
Over to the AHL side, Henderson Silver Knights with a 5-2 win yesterday against the San Diego Gulls. Bit of a breakout for them offensively. Spencer Fu had a couple of goals. For the Silver Knights, they're now going to have 6 of their next 9 played on home ice. They're at the bottom of the league now, trying to climb their way up. This is a very important month for them to start making some moves.
Yeah, that's a big win too. San Diego's a good team in the league, so it's a huge win for them. And 6 of 9 at home. You got that Christmas time area is kind of where you want to be, at least in the middle of the pack. So if they can string, go 6-3 or something like that, that'd be a good stretch going into the new year.
And going into Lucky Launch next weekend, Lucky Launch presented by Sam and Ash. For those unfamiliar and weren't with us last year, Lucky Launch is the Silver Knights' take on the Teddy Bear toss. So they're going to play the Coachella Valley Firebirds. And when the Silver Knights score their first goal, fans are encouraged to throw the teddy bears that they've brought with them. You can bring more than one, bring as many as you like, and throw those onto the ice, and those will be collected for local charities. It's going to benefit Toys for Tots and a couple of, Toys for Tots, the Salvation Army, and the Equality Center. Those are the 3 organizations that will benefit. And Deryk, you and I will both be there because that's going to be a game that's televised as well.
Yeah, I'll be first time doing color with you, and first time doing color period. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be something new, and I remember playing a lot of these teddy bear games early in my career, and it was fun to see. You just kind of waited for that first goal to go in, and then it was just they rained down. I know, and played a couple of them in Philadelphia, and they'd go to the big rink, and that thing was just foot deep in stuffed animals. So it's pretty cool to see, and it goes to a great cause, and especially this time of year.
That'll be a 7 o'clock puck drop on Saturday, December 3rd against the Coachella Valley Firebirds. This Friday and Saturday, the first visit for Coachella Valley to the Dahl Loan Center, so you get to see a new team as well, and that'll be televised on MyLV TV. You mentioned the teddy bear tosses you've taken part on in the past. You're just waiting for that first goal. 2 questions. I'm sure you don't want to wait too long. You don't want that hanging over your head, because the players, I'm sure they're aware of the consequences of who scores first. But I also wonder, we talked about money on the board earlier, is there any kind of competition within the locker room? Who's going to score the goal that unleashes 1,000 teddy bears, or hopefully 10,000 teddy bears? But is there any competition of who's going to get that done?
No, not really. Like you said, you just want it done earlier than later. You don't want to be getting into the second and third period before you score. That's usually not a good recipe for a win anyways, but the sooner you can get it done, then you can just keep rolling with the game and get it over with, because there is that, if there's 10,000 teddy bears on there, it's a long wait to get them all off. So you want to get it out early and then keep rolling.
Well, we highly recommend that you join us in person at the Dahl Loan Center for Lucky Launch, but if you can't, join us on MyLV TV. Deryk and I will be on the call, and you can throw your teddy bears at your TV. Final thoughts for tonight. The Golden Knights taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. What is critical?
Just like Justin said, I think just get back to their game. Simplify things, and just take care of the front of the net, and they got enough skill that they're going to score goals. And
for the Vegas Golden Knights, again, it starts in Columbus, and then the road trip continues as they go to Pittsburgh, Detroit, and to Boston as well. So that'll wrap it up. Special thanks to Justin Russo for joining us on the program. Tune in at 4 o'clock this afternoon for the VGK Insider Show and the Golden Knights tonight in Columbus. This has been Nighttime at Noon. Brian McCormack and Deryk Engelland here with you.